Hello, this is Duke from Duke It Out, and welcome to another episode of Weekly 5. And before I get into any wrestling news topics today, I have two things to announce. One, I'll be going through these topics from 1 to 5 instead of from 5 to 1, because that makes it seem like it's more of a ranked list, and that was never the point of this. And second, I know there was another report from Wall Street Journal about more Vince McMahon allegations, but he's been the topic of 4 of my past videos in the last month, so I'm done talking about it for now. Let's just get into other wrestling news. Number 1, new AEW Tag Team Champions. On Dynamite Fyter Fest last week, new AEW World Tag Team Champions were crowned. Swerve in Our Glory, the team of Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee, beat Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, and the Young Bucks in a fantastic and unpredictable main event. The result did leave fans with excitement, but was pointed out that Swerve pinned Ricky Starks, who wasn't the legal man in the match. For future triple threat tag matches, just have it be booked like a triple threat and not just 2 people in the ring at a time. Would probably solve a lot of confusion in those matches. It was also shocking that the Young Bucks lost so quickly after defeating Jurassic Express. Many fans, including myself, thought that they were building up to a tag title match with FTR at All Out. But Tony Khan even admitted that Bucks and FTR3 was never the plan for All Out. Which adds more intrigue to the end of BTE, where Hangman was peeking out while the Young Bucks were walking to the back. So maybe we'll be seeing an alignment of Hung Bucks by the time we get to that pay-per-view. But back into the topic, huge congratulations to Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee for their first title wins in AEW, and here's to some future classics. And maybe a feud between the two once this reign is over. Number 2, Natalya No Sell's Liv Morgan. One of the most talked about pieces of wrestling news this week was fan footage from a house show where Liv Morgan pinned Natalya to retain her SmackDown Women's title. But right after the pin, Natalya burst back up, seemed to say a few words to Liv while pointing angrily, and walked straight to the back. Similar to Austin Aries no-selling the finish to his match with Johnny Impact at Bound for Glory 2018. Natalya tweeted that she was thanking Liv Morgan for the match, but that tweet has since been deleted. While no heat has come out since this situation, it did look like Natalya was no-selling and trying to make her look more inferior to Liv, which can be considered unprofessional, especially with Natalya being the longest competing member of the women's division. We'll see if anything happens after this. Number 3, heat between Santana and Ortiz. Santana and Ortiz / LAX / Proud and Powerful have been one of the best tag teams in the world for years. Arguably being the best team in AEW to never win the gold. But in late June, Sean Ross Sapp mentioned speculations that Santana and Ortiz might not be in the best of terms in real life, with them not having a tag match with just the 2 of them in months. And before Santana's unfortunate injury at Blood and Guts, he was being booked on independent wrestling shows as a singles competitor. While we heard the news, it wasn't fully confirmed, until Conan straight up admitted that the 2 are not on good terms in an episode of the Keeping It 100 podcast. This is really sad to hear, not just because they're a great team, but those independent bookings show that Santana could be done with AEW once his contract is up. While he's free to do whatever he wants, I would love to see a singles run for him in AEW. But this is another example that with pro wrestling, we really have no idea what's going on behind closed doors. Number 4, Brock Lesnar using homophobic slurs. A week ago, Chris Jericho was a guest on the True Geordie podcast, and it was a very entertaining listen. And one of the highlights was when he discussed the backstage altercation that he had with Brock Lesnar after SummerSlam 2016. If you're not aware of the situation, Brock Lesnar won that SummerSlam main event against Randy Orton, with the ending being Lesnar elbowing Orton's temple for real, busting him open bad. When Jericho saw this in the back, he was unaware if that occurrence was planned or not. And when Lesnar heard Jericho's anger, they got nose to nose with each other. Jericho said that while Triple H tried to break it up, Vince ended up stopping it by telling Jericho that he had told Lesnar to do that. And while they were getting closer toward fighting each other, with Chris even saying he was gonna bite Brock's f***ing nose off, Jericho said that Lesnar was using homophobic slurs that would probably get him canceled. I don't think anything's gonna come out from this beside the fact that this was probably the most in-depth Jericho ever went to talking about the situation. But would it really surprise me that Lesnar was using said slurs? Not really, no. And number 5, TV-14. When WWE switched over to TV-PG back in 2008, there had been plenty of complaints of both the change and the PG era in general. There have definitely been more TV-14-esque material over the past couple of years, But then reports were coming out that pretty soon, Monday Night Raw is going to be switching back over to TV-14 on the USA Network. I haven't seen an official announcement from WWE themselves, but there hasn't been any denials. And since TV network shows have to know stuff like that in advance, it's more likely for this kind of news to come out earlier on. While I don't know how much will change with Raw being TV-14, but I can definitely guess that whenever Cody Rhodes comes back, he will bleed for his first TV-14 WWE match. Probably won't be as brutal as his pec, but blood. This could also boost more viewers and maybe make a certain investigation be further forgotten about. So that was another episode of Weekly 5. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, and duke out your opinions below in the comments.
Never sleep in a cabinet they call a dorm. Sockeye on the beat, never missing my form, but I'm my worst critic.